Welcome to the Queen City Music Podcast, the podcast devoted to the local music scene in Charlotte, North Carolina. Now, here's your host, Matthew Ablin.
Hello and welcome to episode 93 of the Queen City Music Podcast. This episode of the QCMP is sponsored by Midwood Guitar Studio, Charlotte, North Carolina's own boutique guitar shop located in Plaza Midwood. Midwood Guitar Studio not only has the finest selection in boutique guitars, but familiar names like Fender, Martin, Taylor, Two Rock, and many others. Whether it's a guitar, bass, amp, effects pedal, or a much-needed accessory, the knowledgeable and friendly staff at Midwood Guitar Studio will help guide you in the right direction for your next purchase. And Midwood Guitar Studio also has a luthier on staff for all your repair needs. Visit their website at midwoodguitarstudio.com or stop in to see their unique shop at 1517 Central Avenue, Charlotte, North Carolina. By the way, if you have a business and would like to become a sponsor of the podcast like our friends at Midwood Guitar Studio, drop me a line at qcmusicpodcast@gmail.com and I'll discuss all the information with you. And if you enjoy the podcast, drop by MatthewAblin.com, where you'll find my upcoming performance dates, social media links, original music, and a host of information. This month on episode 93 of the QCMP, I'm speaking with local music legends, the Spongetones. The group formed in 1979 from a desire to play the music of the Beatles and other artists of the 1960s, which they admired. Their music can best be described as power pop, which is highlighted by jangly guitars and Beatlesque vocals. Although their lineup has switched over the years, the current lineup of Jamie Hoover, Steve Stoeckel, Pat Walters, and Eric Wilhelm are in the studio to talk about the Spongetones' past, present, and future. The Spongetones, welcome to the Queen City Music Podcast.
Hello, Matthew.
Man, I'm so excited.
Howdy.
Hey, Jamie's on the side. All right, so I'm super excited. I've got local legends, the Spongetones, here on the Queen City Music Podcast today. I've got Pat Walters, Steve Stoeckel, Eric Wilhelm, and you wouldn't know it, but on a little speaker on the side, we got Jamie Hoover sitting in with us. So
all the way from near Southport, so 4 hours away.
Spongetones, I want to cover a lot with you guys because you guys have been on the scene for quite some time here in Charlotte and around. So I'm not going to sugarcoat things. Let's just jump right in. Eric, are you originally from the Charlotte area?
You could call it that. Born in Ohio, but I'm the youngest of five, and a family moved here when I was 2, so I count Charlotte as my hometown.
I would ask what part of Ohio, but I'm not sure at 2 that you really care that much that you're...
Oh, no, yeah, Dayton.
Okay. I lived in Cleveland for about 10 or 11 years.
Okay.
I went to school there for grad work.
Nice.
Pat, how about yourself?
Yes, I was born in Charlotte.
Oh, awesome.
Lived here most of my life. And just a few years away there after around the age of 20.
Yeah.
And so.
You've seen a lot of changes in the since you've been here, huh?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I see changes every week around here.
Yeah, well, it's every time you turn around, there's something different going on. So, Steve, how about yourself?
It took me a while. I got here in 65, but I started in Illinois to Atlanta to the Virgin Islands.
Oh, wow.
To Phoenix to Montana to Minnesota and here. So it just took me a long time to get there.
Wow.
Good catch there, Matthew.
Thanks. I almost dropped my phone with all my questions on it.
I hope so. Well, that's it.
All right, let's jump in. Jared, what's your music
Hoover,
background?
ask Jamie.
Oh, sorry.
That's right.
Oh, yes.
Jamie, I'm sorry. Were you originally from the Charlotte area?
Yeah, this is Jamie. I was born in Charlotte at Presbyterian Hospital.
All right, so another way, you and Pat have been here for quite some time.
And fresh.
And I live in Southport, North Carolina now. It's right on I'm about 3.5 miles from the beach.
Ah, lucky man.
Sweet.
Lucky man. Except in hurricane season, right?
Yeah.
So let's just jump in and figure out what our music background is. I'll start with Jamie so I'd never forget. He's right there.
Yeah.
Jamie, what's your music background?
Wow. Really, my life just kind of began with the Beatles. I remember some things before then. I was born in 1956. And, other than lamb chops and stuff, the Beatles were the first thing I can remember as far as music, really.
Right. All right. So that's how you got involved with music, is just listening to the Beatles. But how did you get into playing? And what's your main instrument, or do you play multiple instruments?
Santa Claus brought me a Harmony acoustic guitar for Christmas when I was 10.
Yeah.
And then I got an electric guitar, a Tyco electric guitar at 11, and a drum set at 12. So I pretty much had everything I needed at that point, except for the bass.
Okay. Steve, how about yourself?
Same thing. Beatles, got a guitar, and it wasn't until I moved to Charlotte when I got my guitar. I was in Minnesota, place about 6,000 people. I probably had the only guitar in town. And I moved to Charlotte, and there was a guy up the street, a good friend of mine, Tommy Smith, who we formed our first kid band. And started with Beatles stuff and just never looked back. So, yeah, and I play guitar and bass, yeah.
Great. Pat, how about yourself?
Yeah, the Beatles pretty much got me into playing. I'm old enough to where when I was just a tyke, I remember seeing Elvis on the Ed Sullivan Show.
Right.
And went to the barber the next day and said, "Leave my sideburns." Yeah, and they got a good. I didn't even know I was making a joke, but they got a good chuckle out of that. But yeah, I started learning to play guitar, and we had a piano in the house, so I picked things out on the piano and started learning some piano then too.
Okay, Eric, how about yourself?
Yeah, I'm the youngest of 5, the oldest of which was the pioneering drummer in our lineage. There's been a couple, but yeah, so I was 4 years old and there was a drum set sitting there in the house, so I would just climb up there and start banging away, and been pretty much playing ever since, along with sort of like Pat, there was a piano, so I would get up and just pound away and figure stuff out. So I can play by ear, but I can't read music, although I'm trying to fix that now.
That's a long haul, trust me. After all the years I've been doing it, it's still it's still a little troublesome.
Yeah.
Let's see. All right. Going to jump ahead a little bit. We're going to get into the Spongetones and bring you guys into 1979. So when the Spongetones formed in 1979, did you guys know each other at all?
Yeah. Well, okay.
Yes.
The story is, it was 1978. I think Pat called me up, and he and I had known each other since junior high school.
Okay.
Way back. We were kids. He called me up and said, "We're putting together a Beatles band for one night. You know, it's one night stand. Just have some fun." And he said, "Your name came up." And I said, "Of course." So I knew Pat. The other members of the band, I knew Rob Thorne, who was in the Catalinas, but I had not really met him.
Right.
And Jake Berger was our first other guitar player, and I didn't know him either. So I just showed up for practice, and he's the only guy I knew. And we just, this was going to be a joke, one night. And we thought that would be the end of it. And that's why we dreamed the ridiculous name, the Spongetones. I've told people before, be careful of what you name your band because it might last. So we had it was supposed to be one night, maybe 30 people were there. And Pat, what's your memory of that?
That sounds about right. It was a lot of fun, and there was, let's say 78. So that was, we were all more or less grown up people, and and everybody had nostalgia. The people our age came out and said, "Hey, that was really fun hearing the old tunes." And and then we just kind of didn't do anything with it till maybe a year and a half later. Steve and I were talking. We said, we should do the Spongetones again. Like it was just a side from the rest of our lives, our jobs at music stores and gigs we were doing.
You need to know that when we started doing this, Pat and me especially, young people, we could barely play and knew these songs. But by the time this 78 rolled around, we'd all been playing professionally and knew how to play.
Okay.
We knew the lyrics and we knew the chords. So it was really weird putting those things together that first time, like, oh, yeah, this is the way the song is supposed to be, And by that time, the Beatles, pretty much people were over them. 78, it was past where they were. And it wasn't hip to like the Beatles. So we tapped into this, oh, yeah, the Beatles kind of thing, which is really great.
So when you guys got together in 78 to really put things together.
Right.
Yeah, and it was some Beatles and other 60s rock things.
Yeah. But was it still just, because I know, Eric, you came in later into the group, right? What year did you come in?
Just a few years ago, actually.
Okay. So it was just you two originally? And Jamie wasn't there yet?
Okay, Pat made Jake Berger and Rob Thorne.
Okay.
That was the band that was playing and started getting a following.
Okay.
And what happened was Jamie Hoover was a fan.
Okay.
And Pat, you can tell the story better than I can about how Jamie came into the band. And Jamie, you can chime in here. I think Alan Kaufman tell me, Alan
Jamie
Kaufman.
could tell the story.
Yeah, I was doing a recording session with Alan Kaufman, and like a Christmas record for a guy, Thomas Moore, actually. And then he said, let's go to the Double Door. The Spongetones were playing over there. And I said, hell yeah. So, let's go. And we went, and we came up to talk to Pat on the break. I didn't know any of these guys personally, and I was just a big fan of Pat's because he was like a local god, in Charlotte. He had the good band called The Good, Bad, and Ugly, and they were just unbelievable. And he had hair down to his feet. It was just incredibly cool stuff. But I was a big fan, and he said that Keith Brooks, and that was the guy that came in after Jake for a while, was leaving the band, and he said, "You're in." And I said, "Oh my goodness, okay, you just made my life."
I remember the moment because I didn't know Jamie, and it was during a break, and Pat came up and said, "This is Jamie Hoover, and he's going to be the guitar player." And he was so cute. He was standing there, little beer in his hand, looking up at us like some little lost puppy or something like that. He was just so cute, and I said, "That sounds good to me." And I mean, it was one of those things where, okay, let's have him in the band.
There you go. So how long was it?
Steve used to say he called me a Mersey beat puppy.
That's right. Wandered into the band, yes.
So how long was it that Jake was in the band with you guys as the Spongetones before he left?
Well, it was just once we regrouped, he was moving to Atlanta anyway, so we might have played a couple of times with him. Okay. Although he said,
so you didn't do any recording or anything.
No,
like that.
we didn't do a recording until Jamie came along, and that's a story in itself. But we weren't playing a lot, and the crowds were okay, but they weren't huge. And for a while we just didn't play at all. I think Pat said let's do this again, and we kind of built it up. But it wasn't until Jamie got in the band who demanded that we write and record a song because he'd been doing that for quite some time.
So you guys had just been doing covers to that point.
Yes.
Yeah, and so Jamie came in, say, the spring of 1980.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's when we really feel the band was complete.
Yeah.
Our focus was on the band, and we still had our jobs in the music business and stuff and other gigs as well. But
and Rob Thorns is still the original drummer.
Yeah, Rob was a drummer for 30 years at least. Yeah. And Steve and I worked at Reliable Music, which was a local music store. I was a guitar repairman.
Well, I don't know if it was here when I moved here.
Okay.
But I remember hearing the name from a lot of musicians. Yeah.
Yeah. So and Steve's an electronics repairman, retired now, and Rob Thorne also worked there in the drum department at that time. So I had been working in a little shop, and they offered me a job at Reliable. And I think that was me and Steve had lunch. Let's get together. And we started on our own, working out the harmonies and chords and so on to Beatles songs that were pretty difficult to get inside of. But we started learning those songs. Some of the other 60s stuff was really easy, but that was in 79. I'm backing up. Then we got around to 1980, still doing it. Jamie came in. And then within about 6 months, we recorded a single.
Yeah, I will add here before we let Jamie tell about what we did, is that Mr. Hoover came in as a shy young Pat Walters worshiper. Within 2 weeks, he was already making plans about how we were going to make a record. His production and his engineering chops went, okay, this is what we're going to do. And thank goodness he did that, because we wouldn't be talking about the band if Mr. Hoover hadn't done that.
So you guys you weren't even, that wasn't on your radar before Jamie came
Jamie
in.
was the one that pushed us. Jamie is responsible for this. So, Mr. Hoover, tell us what happened when you first started talking, where we recorded that first 45.
Well, hold on, Jamie. So what made you want to start doing original music? When you got with these guys and you knew they were doing covers already, what pushed you to say, hey, guys, especially being the new guy, hey, we're going to start doing original stuff? Where'd you get the cojones for that?
Well, it was just a thing of, I said, let's just write things in the style of the Beatles, but make sure, or the Beatles, Dave Clark 5, the Searchers, Jerry and the Pacemakers, all this kind of, let's just give it that kind of sound. Let's record it like they did in those days, everybody in the same room kind of thing.
Right.
And, you know, actually play it rather than overdub everything. And, you know, let's just write things in that style. And I had already written that song, Tell Me Too, that was on our first record that we, you know, I had made a recording of that, and same deal. It was just sounded like a Dave Clark 5 song. And I said, we can do this. And I said, Pat, you know, you can write a couple of things like that. And he came up with You're the One and Better Take It Easy, which were great songs. And we recorded those at a 1-inch or a 2-inch 16-track place in Charlotte called Le Mans Sound. And that was our first 45, and we were in the record business after that. We did the first album, the rest of the stuff that was on the first album at Reflection Studios with Mark Williams and me. And, you know, all of a sudden we were in the biz.
So you had been writing stuff before you met these guys.
And recording. He'd been recording. That was the thing. He knew he had the chops to do recording. He was an engineer and a producer,
So were you doing the recording yourself, Jamie, or did you guys hire another engineer to come in and do the stuff?
Yeah, my dad, I didn't want to go to college, so my dad wanted to give me something, and he gave me a TIAC 3340 tape machine, which would allow you to record 4 tracks by yourself, you know, like Todd Rundgren, you know, somebody that I had really, you know, I've patterned my life after that guy, really. You know, it was a whole thing of recorded at home, and I love that whole idea. And so we did a lot of good sounding demos on that 4-track. Pat and I did a bunch of stuff like that, and so that's kind of where it came from with me. I kept buying recording gear, and you know, that's what I've done. Like everybody else worked at Reliable. I worked there for about 3 months one time, but the rest of the time I've really been either recording engineer, producer, or, you know, playing in sessions, that sort of stuff. That was my deal. That's what I wanted to do.
So were you, Pat and Steve, were you guys apprehensive at all about doing it? You know, or were you just like, all right, let's do it?
Go.
Yeah, it had never occurred to me, because I'd never written a song. Yeah. Pat had been doing some songwriting, but we were overjoyed to have somebody that not only encouraged us, but knew what to do and knew how to do microphones and produce and engineer. No, we were happy, you know.
Wow. That's fantastic.
And we had experience recording. I did session work and played at some recordings from the time I was in high school, at least.
Yeah.
So they were not as exciting as doing the Spongetones.
I was going to say one of the great bands Pat was with Jeremiah, and they had a major label deal. David Brown was the sort of central writer there, but they had like Denny Sywell. That played in Wings, played drums on that record.
He was a session drummer there.
He had a little recording experience.
Yeah. So Pat had been hanging with some big boys. You know, I've done a few sessions, but not stuff that Pat did. So I was a novice, but you know, so we knew how it was done.
Yeah.
But Jamie was the one that could do it, basically.
Okay. So, and Eric, in a parallel universe, while this is going on with these guys and they're starting to put the Spongetones together, what's going on with you?
Well, I'm sort of the spring chicken here. I was considerably younger, so at this time I was actually a fan. I was a teenage fan of the Spongetones.
Had you gone to see them?
Yep. I'd seen them, and I got the first record, so I'm busy listening to the record at home and going, man, this is cool. This is local. This sounds so good for a local band. This was back in the day before everybody had their own setup. So
were you putting together your own groups in the
I was I was playing in groups that were kind of in the same, like in high school. When I was in 8th grade, I got invited to be in a band with a bunch of high school guys.
Okay.
And it was the same thing. They were doing all covers like Beatles, Stones, all that sort of 60s, 70s stuff. And so playing a bunch of that. And
getting your chops ready.
Oh yeah,
what you didn't know was going to happen years later, right?
Yep.
So I'm curious, guys. The Spongetones, just to kind of have an overarching feel for the career. You guys have been together putting together things with Jamie since 1980. have you been consistent with the group, or have there been times when you've taken a break for a couple of years to do other things? Because as I know personally, Steve used to do electronics repair, and Steve had that as his full-time business. And I know, of course, you did the Spongetones. But did you guys ever take a time off?
Well, the band has been going the entire time. It has never gone away. I took a hiatus for a couple of years around 1984. A lot of things were happening, and basically they went on the road and full time with a manager, and basically I couldn't do that at the time.
Right.
So I left, came back for we had an album, they released an album, Wherever Land, that I wasn't on. But then it came back. The next one was, I think, Oh Yeah, where I came back, and I've been ever since. So I've been there, except for those probably 4 years. Pat's been the entire time.
Okay.
And Jamie the entire time. Yeah. So yeah, it's and Eric's a newbie. We had Rob. To further history, we got Chris Gargis to play with us after Rob left, and of course Chris passed away, as you know. And then young Mr. Wilhelm was the obvious choice, and I have to say, and all three of us would agree that he has filled the shoes admirably. All those high school bands that he was in, learning that music and how to do it correctly, he's amazing. And plus, I will kind of brag on him here. He sings, which is new for us, a drummer that sings.
That's
it's
great.
Like some sort of creature from outer space. And he writes. He has written a song, so he's right in the band now in every facet. He's writing, singing, and playing, so we couldn't be happier. Yeah.
So I'm curious, when you start recording this first album, Jamie, since you are kind of the taskmaster, I guess that might be
That's a good way
to put it.
Yeah.
Is the goal at the time, because having listened to some of the catalog over the last couple of weeks since I know you guys were coming in, there is definitely a 60s Beatlesque rock vibe to it. So was that the intent, or is that your style base, or has that become, since you started, the Spongetones sound? Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, Jamie could answer what he was trying to do, and he was very specific, I think. Jamie?
Yeah, it's like I was saying a while ago. It's just my thing was, let's write stuff in the style of those bands, make them new songs, make them really quality songs, and record them like we were recording back in that day. So we got the same sort of sound, and we got critical acclaim. I mean, we had a 3.5-star review on that first record in Rolling Stone, and a 3-star on the second record, and Wherever Land was even a recommended in Rolling Stone. So
my question, Jamie, is even more to the point, is that sound is the sound of the Spongetones. It's you guys. I'll take another band that's it started. The early Beatles is not the same as the Beatles on the White Album sound. Rush, when they started, is not the same sound as when they got to Power Windows and Clockwork Angels. So the Spongetones have maintained to a certain extent that 60s sound. Mm-hmm. So has that been kind of on purpose?
Well, I would say that there is I'll let Jamie finish, but there's a Spongetone sound, which is the texture of our voices and our playing, but we're all capable of playing different styles.
Yes.
I would say that we started out, the first record sounds like a long lost Beatles record, but that wasn't our intent after that.
Sure.
So we've explored new, places, but if you listen to our music, you can hear the Spongetones. I mean, yes. I think you would agree. The thing that's the same, that changes with the song and the sound, they're still the Spongetones, the way our voices sound together and the way we play together. And Jamie, will you add to that with a more technical expertise?
Yeah, we just, it was like we just wanted to sound like a contemporary of those bands, so we used the same techniques. Mm-hmm. The first album was totally recorded in like 2 days. We did all the instrumentation in one day, and then all the vocals on the second day, and then we took 2 days to mix it. And that was about like the Beatles spent the same amount of time introducing the Beatles. And it has a certain effect on the recording of that just sort of, we got to get this stuff, and we have a limited amount of time we can be in here, and so that's what we did. We just worked under the gun, and it came out perfect.
I'll ask you, Matthew. You've listened to the catalog. Would you agree that some stuff sounds like very Beatlesque, and others really don't? I mean, the songwriting and the way we approach it varies, and some of the stuff has more modern, XTC and Squeeze aren't that modern to a lot of people, but to me they are. That it's still it's power pop, basically.
Yeah, I was going to say it's all in the power pop sort of umbrella, which is a nice place.
It's a big umbrella.
It is, but to somebody who's on the outside, to me, I hear the Spongetones sound, and that sound is rooted in that time period, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Whereas
the sound is the identifiable vocals. You can hear me, you can hear my voice distinctly, you can hear Steve's voice distinctly, and you can hear Pat's voice distinctly. And that was like the Beatles. And that has a whole lot to do with it like that.
I agree.
Was that done on purpose? Did you guys try to do that, emulate it?
No, we sing, and what he's saying is we have three distinct. It's like Crosby, Stills, and Nash. They have distinct voices, and then there's the other voice that's their voice that they kind of can't help.
No, I get that, but when you're singing, I can even see in comments and video as I watched where somebody had said, Steve looks like Paul McCartney or something like that. Yeah. Were you trying to emulate his voice when you started singing?
What comes out of me was pretty much that voice. I mean, I have other voices I could use. I could be growly or whatever, and Pat and Jamie the same way. But my natural voice has always, from the time I was 15, has been like that. I mean, I just can't help it.
That's great. I
was
just curious.
Influenced by the Beatles. That everyone in the band had that sort of style it's like Southern boys with a British accent,
Yeah.
I mean, one of my all-time favorite bands, I don't know if you guys are familiar with them, their name is King's X, and they have Beatlesque harmonies in their songs, and in their style, and that original kind of thing, when you heard it, you're like, oh, that's really reminiscent of the Beatles. But it starts to, like you guys, it started to become their own after a period of time. Yeah. So, but my curiosity is when you had originally started, was that something that you had said, hey, this is what we want to do?
and kind of still do in a way, I mean, they're a touchstone for us. And
that's what we studied, I mean, that's the music we studied.
Well,
we took that stuff apart, so we could learn how to sing the exact, like typically with the Beatles, there's one lead vocalist and then there's two backup singers, not three backup singers. Yeah. And so they do this back and forth stuff, and that's what we did.
Yeah, when you start picking this stuff apart and learning songs, you discover the secrets behind them, and we discovered a lot of the Beatles' secrets, their craftsmanship, by learning this stuff.
And the echo, it has a lot to do with the sound and the microphones used, but the echo in particular has a lot to do with the Beatle magic.
Yeah.
So you guys, what is the songwriting process then like for you guys? You guys set out to write it doesn't matter, first album, fifth album, you start writing. Is there somebody who is really the main songwriter, or are you all contributing, and then you kind of decide this is a strong song, this one isn't, these ones
we all write songs together. We've written songs together and separately, and each of us, and together in groups of 2 and 3.
Yeah.
So we've covered all the ground in songwriting. So we just start writing songs, and Mr. Hoover is usually when it comes to arranging, picking, because we have an abundance, he'll just say, okay, let's do this, this, and this. So he's usually the gatekeeper for these.
Okay.
But everybody writes, and both lyrics and music, and we have demos that we make. The demos got better as we went along to give the other guys an idea. But, and then Jamie said, let's make an album,
Do you guys write together, or do you guys write in your own individual spaces?
In spaces, I guess.
Yeah. We don't write if somebody comes up with a thing that sounds like it's going to be a song, we might say, hey, if you want to collaborate with me on this, or you hear anything. So we write with each other in that regard. Usually it's just a matter of sending what we have to, or I'll send it to Steve or Jamie.
Yeah. So if your question is, do we sit around a room and write a song together, that rarely happens. Everybody has his own writing space. I think Jamie and I tried to write a couple of songs a long time ago on the long trip to Nashville, and we just tried, and we ended up with 2 songs, but we just said, this isn't working. Let us work in our own space. So it's a kind of a solitary thing for me, and I think for Jamie and Pat and also Eric. Yeah.
The thing is, when you're working together with somebody, I'm always uncomfortable with. I like to be in my own space when I'm working and work with what I've got, and just that way it will come naturally. If I'm under pressure against somebody else to. Come up with a hook or whatever. It never works. Like Steve was talking about with the songs we came up with on the road, we just went back, and then I took my stuff home separately and he took his song separately, and we ended up making 3 great songs out of them. They just weren't together.
Yeah. So that's not to say that we don't collaborate. What happens is one person will start working on it, and then the collaboration starts, but it takes place over the internet. Okay, what about this verse? What about that? So we refine the song, but we're rarely in the same room like John and Paul. Well, what do you think about this? Okay, let's do it. It doesn't happen in real time. It happens, in sequence.
Sure. Because I know when I was writing my EP, something not too long ago, a few years back, before that, I was starting to write with a friend of mine, a drummer, my friend John, and I just found it difficult. Not because of him, because he's a wonderful musician and he had some great lyrics or something, but I always found kind of exactly what Steve and Jamie were saying is that I'd get a part and then he'd be looking at me like, what's next? And I'm like, I don't know what comes next, man. I
what do you think?
And he's like, try this. And I'm like, no, and that's not right. And then, I'm like, okay, I'll have to come back to that.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have your own individuality that you can do it with. But when you guys are finished with a song, let's say Pat comes in with a song. Do you ever, Pat, say, Steve or Jamie, I think this might be better suited for your voice to sing this?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've wrote and I've sung their songs as well. And definitely,
and I've sung Pat's songs before.
For the first record we did, Jamie sang the lead on Better Take It Easy. Okay. But there's even then, even though we weren't using as many tracks, there was a lot of harmony going on underneath. Yeah. So all the voices are there, and they're all important.
Just out of curiosity, since you brought it up, Pat, the harmonies, was that something that came natural to all you guys individually to be able to do? Because you even say Eric does some harmony stuff too and sings. Oh, yeah. So I always found when I first started singing, harmonies to be extremely difficult because you're listening to somebody else or... again, I'll mention a couple of friends that I've performed with, my friend John, who I mentioned earlier, and my friend Tara. They're great, man. I'm like, I'll just sing and they can find the pitch and they can match the harmony and go on. And I'm like, I got to go home and I got to match the notes on my guitar and I got to get it in my ear. It's not a natural thing for me. Is that something that came naturally to you guys or it's something you had to sit and work on together?
We, we'd been in bands for a lot of years, so we're used to, like if we learned a cover song or something, we were used to singing that kind of stuff. And then I think we just started, we write a song, somebody would take the lead, and whoever was arranging the backups at the time, or if it was one of my songs, I might have said, I want to hear this right here, and my voice would be good for this range or whatever. It became intuitive.
Yeah. I will say that Jamie is amazing at this. Jamie, it's not just about harmony. Sometimes it's about backup parts. And there have been songs that I've written, and I'll be in the studio doing the rhythm parts, and Jamie will say, okay, come back, and I want you to sing some backup parts. And literally, it's like, okay, sing this. La da 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 da. I have no idea what he's after. He's got something in his head that he can hear already. Yeah. And so I'll sing all this stuff. Yeah. And then 2 months later, I'll hear what I did in the context of the song. So Jamie is really, really, this is the Todd Rundgren thing coming out. Jamie is really good at the arranging. Sometimes it's obvious who should sing this, but when it comes to the really complicated harmony parts past the usual 2 or 3 part harmonies, that's one of the reasons people paid attention to us, not just the songwriting, but those arrangement of the parts. And as I said, sometimes I don't know what he's going to do with these things when he tells me to sing a la 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 or not even lyrics. One time it was a long thing it was phonetics, and I had to write each one of them down. Ah, e, la la, na na na, and what the hell is this? And then I heard it, and it was wonderful. And it's so So yes, we're all versed in harmony, and I can sing harmony based on doing cover tunes. But Jamie is the one that sort of has this. I don't know where it comes from, but he has this vision sometimes of a song, that completes it.
Jamie, how about, since Steve's been brought up, how did you get into that production and the arranging kind of aspect of music? Because the writing the song is one thing.
I would always just hear. Hear the part in my head, or at least hear. What I do is I hear in my head. Whatever comes to me, first, like James Brown said, it's God talking, and it's like, I'll put the first harmony down, then the first part of the backup down, and then a part that harmonizes with that, or maybe it doubles it, maybe it does the same thing. And I just follow my gut on all that stuff. And like I say, when I'm done, it's when all the voices stop screaming at me in my head.
That's enough.
Yeah.
That's a good description, James. Yeah.
So would you guys would it be a safe bet to say that Jamie is the producer?
Yeah.
Or do you guys all produce?
Absolutely. Yeah, the engineer and the producer at this point. Yeah.
So when you guys are picking songs for albums, do you have an abundance of extra songs, like stuff that's still in the can that didn't make it on the fifth album that you have? Always,
yeah.
Do you guys make that as a group decision, or does Jamie as a producer say, I think these are the strongest ones, and these ones, the order would go better with this?
We trust his judgment, and we'll fight for something if we think. But so far, I don't think I've ever been disappointed on anything that came out that one of my songs didn't make it. I was happy with the songs I got, and I agreed with the choices made. So he makes the choices. But it is we're a democracy, and if we want to fight for something, we will.
Yeah.
The caliber of the stuff that Pat and Steve both come up with is also just so good that it's never bad. I never get it and go, oh my God, what am I going to do with this thing? It's never like that. It's like, okay, let's realize it. Let's get it on tape, basically like that.
Plus, there's an art.
I will say another thing I want to say about songwriting is Pat. I remember on the first record just said, "Hey Jamie, write a ballad. Write like a sweet, love ballad kind of thing." And that was that song, "Take My Love." And it was just literally by assignment. I mean, he just said, "Yeah, just you write a ballad for the record," and that's all he told me. And I came up with that. Same with Steve, I said, just write a song. You got all kinds of words coming out of your brain all the time. Write a song. And the first thing he wrote was that, what's the name of the song, Steve?
Part of Me Now. Yeah. Part of Me Now. When we were making the first record, I had never written a song.
Okay.
And Jamie said, you really want to be on this record. You need to write. So I went home and wrote this thing that I didn't think was all that great. But once these guys started working on it, I went, hey, that's a song,
There you go.
So that was the start of my infection, basically. Thanks, guys.
And it's that song, "A Part of Me." It's a part of me now, and it's on our first record, and it sounds fantastic.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's got a big sound.
Eric, have you had a chance to go in, since you're the new guy? Have you had a chance to go in with the Spongetones and do some recording quite yet?
Oh yeah, yep. And in fact, the funny thing with me, I come up with songs. My head comes up with verses and choruses all day long. Not lyrics, but just, this would be a cool verse, and this would be a cool chorus. But I can't come up with lyrics to save my life. I can come up with melody lines.
That's interesting.
Like, this would be a good line. But so the fun part with these guys is that here's the thing that I got this much of it. Here's a verse, and maybe it goes in a chorus back to this, maybe a middle eight. And I did that with them, and they'll come up with some lyrics, or they'll fill out the rest of it. I'm like, oh, wow, here we go. Now it's becoming more of a full song. So all the things that I can't do, they can come in and, here, how about this? And add other little
So it's
parts.
definitely become a group process.
He's got a song, and we're going to be recording, so that's pretty great.
So I guess one of the questions I would have is, if you guys are singing on other people's material, so Steve writes a song and he says, Pat, I think this would be a great song for you to sing. Mm-hmm. Or Jamie, same thing, a question to all you guys. Do you ever find it difficult to relate to some of the lyrics that somebody else has written, where you're kind of, maybe you're not in the same headspace? Has it ever become not an issue, but something you're like, wow, I have to work at this a little bit. I can sing it physically, but I'm kind of like, since I did not write it, I am not emotionally attached to it to put my voice in it in the manner that I would like to.
I think by the time, if it was me,
those things are pretty easy to communicate to somebody, though, especially as far as singing, like someone singing lead on a song or backup on a song. It's you just go, hey, this is what it's about, and they can always get behind it. I mean, I've just never had any trouble with any of them. And Eric, he's an arranger. The first thing that he gave me was just blew me away. But it was like a la 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 song, where that's what we refer to as when you come up with a melody and chords, but you don't have the lyrics. It's just you got la 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 whatever, and figure out what a verse and a chorus is and fill in the blanks, man. It comes to you.
And Pat was getting ready to say something about this.
That's all. It's just like usually by the time if one of the guys asked me to sing the lead on one of their songs, I've listened to the song enough times to where it becomes part of me.
Sure.
And I'm not too worried about what they're saying. I know them like the back of my hand, and as people, and so it just comes naturally.
Okay.
Sometimes I get a mouthful of words, and it's hard to figure out how I'm going to actually get all those out in the rhythm that's been assigned to me.
Well, I guess the question I would ask is,
if somebody writes some lyrics,
if Steve brings the song to you with the lyrics, do you already have the melody written for him for it, or do you say, "Hey, Pat, here are the lyrics to the song. Can you come up with the melody for it?"
Well, usually the song comes first, and if your question is, if I send a melody out and say Jamie comes back with lyrics that and I look at them and I think to myself, no, that's not it. What happens is we have enough communication and respect for each other. I don't recall that happening. In other words, you say, this is the song. Like Eric sent that song to Jamie. Jamie said, here's the lyrics. And Eric, I think you would agree, that's the song. He found the song. The song spoke to Jamie and said, this is what it's about. And the writer of the melody agreed and said, yes, that's what the song is about. And that's what happens. If one of us sends lyrics out, or if one of us sends music out, which is what usually happens, I need lyrics for this. We get back lyrics. It might not, it's one of those things like, when you hear a radio DJ and you see his picture for the first time,
right?
That's not the way it's supposed to look.
Right.
Well, that never happens. It never comes back to, that's not what this song is about. What the heck are you thinking? We've done it so long together, and we know each other's heads. It comes back, and I say, that's it. Yeah. I didn't know that's what it is, but that's the song. Thank you.
Well, I know one of my favorite bands, Rush, they would, watching a documentary, Neil Peart, who was the lyricist, would write the lyrics, and then he'd hand them over to Geddy Lee and be like, okay. And Geddy would have to come up with a melody. So that kind of is my question is, do you ever have just the lyrics, ask somebody to come up with a melody, and then that person say, maybe I've got to hack off some words, or maybe this melody isn't working, or is that something like the melody is already kind of written?
Your melody usually comes first with us. Would you agree?
Interesting.
Yeah. And if I do, I don't know, I guess we all might do this. If I do a demo, if I finally get a thing that says, that seems like a real song, I'll do maybe a really basic rhythm track in the style that I want, and I'll have something, a keyboard or a guitar playing a melody.
Yeah.
Or la la la,
Yeah, or sometimes just junk lyrics. Just a bunch of words that to fill in the space.
So, lyrics last usually. Yeah.
That's interesting that you mentioned that because I've often wondered that because with Rush as an example, and I know Squeeze because Chris Difford always writes the lyrics and then Tilbrook writes the melody, and I think the lyrics come first.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine looking at a thing of lyrics and going, "This would be a good melody to make this fit." And I wonder,
Elton John, Bernie Taupin,
right?
That's
at least for me. That's always been something when I write the chord changes. I have the melody in my head, and then I have to kind of figure out the lyrics that go with it.
Yeah.
I don't think I could ever sit there and be like, maybe there's a catch, there's a line or something that I can figure out that I've got to use, but it never is the other way. Speaking of songwriting, guys, let's take a listen to one of the Spongetones songs. Okay. Can we take a listen to the song called Honest Work, and we'll talk about it when we get back?
Okay, sure.
All right.
I get up in the morning and all I want to do is honest work, honest work, honest work. Not trying to change the world from an oyster to a pearl, just honest work, honest work, honest work. No savior here, I'm just getting through my time of honest work, honest work. And I'll drink a beer, end of the day is near for me, and honest work, honest work. Here's my resume, my two hands displayed, all into the grand design as I take my place in line. Not survive the day, but all I'm trying to do is stay in honest work, honest work, honest work. I'm falling off a log again, I stumble through the fog of honest work, honest work,
One of my favorite tunes. And I'm so happy that Steve sent it over. I was just looking at this point. I was like, what did Steve send over? And I was like, is that the tune that I really like? Like, I couldn't remember all the titles because I listened to so many in such a short period before these guys got here. Fill me in about this song. Who wants to tell me about it?
Start, Pat.
Yeah, I had some music that I sent to Jamie years ago, and he wrote the lyrics. And I think I just said it's about honest work because I was thinking about gigs, and sometimes they're not necessarily gigs you want to play, but you have to pay the bills, and so
You're a working musician.
Whatever you do.
Pat kind of told me. Yeah, I was going to say Pat kind of told me what it wanted it to be about, sort of, and that was that. And I just filled in the blanks. Like I was in my head, I just go, "What would Pat write here?"
What would Pat do?
It worked out great.
Yeah, he came up with
WWPD.
Yeah, and I just I had the melody within there. We might have changed a few notes here and there, but Jamie came back with a complete song, and even has done a cappella version of it.
Oh.
That
years ago.
That released some years ago. Yeah, I've heard it.
I have not heard that.
Okay.
So who were all the players on it? Of course, Pat. Steve, were you on this one?
I'm playing bass and singing. Yeah.
Jamie, and who was the drummer at the time? Eric?
Me. Yeah.
Oh, okay, great.
This is one of the 3 new songs that this man has played drums on and sung on. And as he was saying, well, you tell him the story about hearing parts. We were talking about hearing things and not knowing what it's going to sound like.
Oh, yeah. Because I would just get an email from Jamie with a file in it that said, okay, here's what you need to sing. And it would just be Jamie singing these little bits, just by itself. And so it would be a stretch of just, honest work, honest work, honest work.
That's
so
great, yeah.
Do everything twice and maybe harmonize it or something. And I was like, okay, how's this going to fit into the whole thing? And then you hear it all back, like, oh, there it is.
Cool. You have to just trust Jamie that it's going to work.
So where did you guys wind up recording this? Or did you record it? Did you record it?
No. That's another question.
I remember seeing Steve
modern technology.
when I did my interview with Steve back in 2018. So you were telling me about Pop Co-op, and I loved Steve's the way he put it was, we are a locationally or something like that dispersed band. Like nobody lived in the same city.
Yeah.
And everybody. So did you guys record this at a place together, or did you send just parts back and forth and stems?
Jamie is the mothership, so he's the one that's going to mix it. So he sends us files that we can drop in, me, Cubase, and Eric Reaper. And so I do the parts in my bass and singing in my studio. Eric does it at his, and Pat comes over to my house to do vocals and play guitar and keyboards. So I'm one Charlotte studio. Eric is another one just for him, and his drums too. Yeah. He records his drums there, and then Jamie takes all those files via Dropbox, or we send it, flies them into his session, and does the mixing. So that's the way we work. Yeah.
Pat, do you have a recording? Do you have a recording studio at home?
I don't currently. Actually, some of the tracks on Honest Work were recorded at my house, the guitar and keyboard, and then I did some more guitar over at Steve's house. But so some of those were used.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the making of Honest Work.
Jamie, what's your studio like? What kind of program are you using? Are you a Pro Tools guy?
Cubase Pro.
What's that?
And I could send you a couple of pictures of what it looks like in here, but it's just a little room with a bunch of guitars hanging on the wall, and my studio desk and preamps and stuff on one part of it, and it's my little. I call it Beach Pod Studios. That's what it is. Yeah. I have, and my girl has also her own studio on the other side of the wall. So that's like Beach Pod A and B.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I think once you get the home recording bug, you get bit hard, and you're like, I want to do all this and I want to do that.
Yep.
And then you get into watching like videos on YouTube of guys at their home studio, and you're like. Yeah. Oh, that's what I want my studio to look like. I want to walk in and feel inspired. You know, so it is a lot of fun. Lights. It is definitely fun. And I'll tell you what, I never recorded back in the day when I was a bit younger, but having gotten bit by the bug as I got older, it is definitely inspiring to be able to do that. Especially if you're writing even if it's a demo that you want to bring to a band or a group and say, hey, here's a rough sketch of everything. This is the way it is. Yeah. No longer it is. Let me just play it for you and then write down the lyrics. You could have everything pre-recorded for everybody.
Fancy demos these days,
which is great. Yeah. Jamie, I'm just curious. Just as a quick aside, are you doing any production on any other bands besides the Spongetones, or are you doing your own thing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, actually, I just finished recording my fourth album for Bob Lind, who had that song Elusive Butterfly, a big hit in '67.
Oh, fantastic, man. That's awesome.
And I've actually this is my fourth record with him and for him, and I'm very, very, very proud of it. It's going to be released on Ace Records in the UK, and that's going to happen in January.
That's awesome. Congratulations. Cool. Now you got... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jamie.
I was going to say that's about it. I just the last couple of days was working on a song with a friend of mine, Steve Pasley, who lives in Charlotte, and I may finish it up this afternoon, according to how I feel when I get done.
That's awesome. This. Yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun once you kind of get into it.
And he's working on a new Spongetones song, by the way, that is in.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
I've got a new co-write that Steve and I did together, and same thing. He had most of it put together, and I just, did my thoughts to it, and got the structure and sent that back to Steve, made sure it was okay, and then went ahead and sent the tracks to Eric to put drums on them, and I'm just waiting for him to get those back. And I send, with the backup vocals, again, I am blessed with being able to put backup vocals together, and so is everybody else in the band. I mean, Eric is amazing with that. But I'll give a guide part, and I'll say, here's a guide. It's just a guide. If you hear something different, you can do something different, and that way, everybody still has artistic license with the whole thing. Yeah. Because I don't want to just take things over. I want to give direction, but creative direction,
No, I got you. So I'm curious. Another thing that popped into my brain. The late Chris Gargis, when he was with you guys performing, and he had Old House Studio, did you guys do some recordings from Old House when Chris was there?
Sadly, no. The only
I was going to say we were rehearsed there some, and did we do anything? We didn't record anything there.
The only thing that I did with Chris, and hindsight, I wish we'd done more, is I had a song that I wrote and put out on Facebook, just me, and Chris called me up and said, I love that tune. I want to play drums on it. And I went, okay, which, Chris liked our stuff, but he'd never said, this is wonderful. So I said, okay, you produce it, you engineer it. So I sent him the tracks. I had several people playing guitar on it, and I played bass and sang. And he recorded it and put it out, and I put it on my first solo CD album. And it was amazing. I mean, and there's a video that we made of it, of all the people that played on it, including Chris. Chris did a video of himself playing the drums in his studio, and I said, we all have to do a video. So there's a video out on, I'll send you a link.
Yeah,
and it's
Chris had a wonderful studio, and he was lucky enough to do that. I had a studio in Charlotte for 10 years on Freedom Drive, and we did a bunch of our records there. I guess probably starting with Oddfellows maybe or something. I'm not sure what we started with there, but I had a brick and mortar place myself. Very expensive and impossible to make a living at anymore doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when you have a whole bunch of people working at home and the recording quality is pretty darn good. Yeah. I mean, I think the only benefit, and maybe you guys could disagree or agree, I'm not sure, is if you are playing, sometimes it's nicer to just have somebody press record for you rather than you have to go back and forth.
Back and forth.
Plus, being in the same room, I remember those days, and there was some stuff that took place, communication that took place in real time that doesn't happen. It's not in real time. It takes place eventually, but there's something about being in the room with somebody and go, that's really great. No, do that again. Or that, no, that's not so great. And I saw a lot of that happen with the Spongetones, like this wonderful stuff that communicates like playing live, in the secluded, you're in a secluded spot, there's no audience, so you're focused only on each other, looking. And
we did record Too Clever by Half all in the same room.
Yeah.
And that was a beautiful thing, same thing. All four of us were there for the tracking of all that stuff.
Yeah.
And, it's a whole lot of fun. Also, the room characteristics, do come into play, especially when recording drums.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'm curious because this is one of my kind of things with modern recording. And since you guys all do modern recording, I always feel that there's a little loss of personality, whereas we're always striving to make the recording perfect, lining things up, playing with the click track, doing these kinds of things. And the thing I always loved about old school recordings, which you don't really get anymore, maybe it's not a thing, or maybe people just don't record all in a room together anymore, is when you would hear like an old Zeppelin album and they'd leave in the talking before the song started or the talking after. I always mention the one song Zeppelin's doing, and the engineer's going to click and he says, "Hey Jimmy, there's a plane going overhead," because they're recording outside. He says, we'll wait. And Jimmy's like, no, leave it. And you hear this plane going by, and then they start in with the song. Yeah,
you're talking about found art. And I will say that Jamie's real good about spotting that. That's not a mistake. Yeah. Leave it in. And you miss it in real time. But if you put yourself in the mindset of I'm doing something, you can sort of pretend. You can get that feel and that emotion. You don't get the looks and everything. And sometimes, as I said, I've made a mistake or whatever and sent it to him, ignore this. And no, that's what it should be. Yeah. So we've just been doing it long enough to recognize and get that, I hope anyway.
Do you like that, Pat? Leaving some mistakes in occasionally? Are you okay with that?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not that particular about it.
Yeah. Eric?
Yeah, what I was going to say, on those 3 new songs, there's one of them where when I first recorded my drum part for it, and this is before anybody had heard it, I thought, this is just my stab at it. Let me see what they think. So I played what I thought might be a good part, and as after the last crash, and I'm like, well, they're not going to use this, and I made some stupid noise, like I'm like coo-coo-coo or something, and I sent it to them, and then that wound up being the one.
Yeah.
I was like, oh. And then when I heard the final thing, that silly noise I make at the end is still there. And I was like, oh, do you want me to do it again? I could do it again and take that out. And Jamie said, no, I love that. It's perfect. We're keeping it.
It's human,
funny.
you know. And I will add here, and I'm going to be bragging on this guy again, that he's, you know, Jamie, we're all, but I mean, Jamie is a drummer, and he's really particular about drum parts. And Chris sent him like, oh, and here's a demo. And Jamie said, no, you nailed it. And he went, what? So, I mean, he got it.
Wait, what?
He got what he thought should be it was the take that
That's
Jamie
great.
took. And that's a huge compliment. It really is.
You know, you say that, Eric, that's funny because on my recording You and Me, off that EP, at the very end, my friend John, who played drums on there and did background vocals, at the end, he goes, ooh, he has this thing. And I'm like, and he's like, I just felt that it should be there. And I was like, that's perfect, man. I'm leaving it in the same way.
Happy
It
accident.
adds some humanness to it. Yes.
Right, yeah.
I think in this age of digital recording where everybody's striving for perfection, I think we do lose a lot of that humanness in it, you know, to try to make everything perfect.
But we've been there. And that helps.
Yeah.
We've been in that room with each other.
Yeah. There's funny enough. So being a Rush fan, I remember looking at the tab from one of the guitar magazines years ago, and it's a tab of the trees. And so I'm like, oh, let me check this out. And I start looking at it, and I'm starting to finger pick it. And there's one note that's got an X on it, which is, if you know tab, is a percussive strum.
Oh, okay.
But it's a finger picked part. So I'm like, where the heck is that? Start listening to the song, and when I listen to it, I hear that Alex Lifeson, the guitar player, had missed the note with his finger. And whoever did the tab to it put an X there. Like, it wasn't supposed to be the actual note. That was supposed to be, you know, like the more purposeful way he did it. And I just had to laugh, and I was like, wow, we're really going for perfection here these days. So, Jamie, how do you feel about that humanness in the recording and leaving mistakes in?
How do I feel about what in particular?
Well, we were talking about, you know, leaving mistakes in, and Steve had said how good you are about spotting that kind of stuff. Do you like leaving that stuff in, or
it's just a gut feeling with me. I mean, I like to keep any sort of silly stuff or anything like that if it makes sense with the song. You know, we have a little on one of the three new songs. Eric does some sort of a la 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 thing at the end of it that I kept, you know, because I loved it.
Yeah, Eric had mentioned that.
Yeah, that is.
It's just sound art, you know. It's just like, oh, you know, I will always hear that, so why not? Let's leave it, you know.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to jump around talking about this long career that you guys have had. Have you guys had a chance or an opportunity to flirt with major labels at all, being interested, or has it always kind of been an independent kind of thing?
Jamie? Sony?
We had a good label called Repeat Records for the first two, and then the third one we released ourselves, and the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, maybe, or whatever, we're on Black Vinyl, which is that band Shoes from Chicago that was the label that they had for their own stuff. And I said, hey, would you think about putting our record out? And they said, yeah. So they did it, and a very good label for us. Then we had Gadfly for a record, and I guess we released the next couple of things on our own label, and now we have Big Stir, and they're wonderful so far.
There was Sony and
also,
JVC.
we were on Sony in Japan for 20 years or something, you know, and that was definitely a major label. It was just in Japan. So we have had major stuff in Japan in particular. In Sony, again, pretty big label.
Yeah.
Well, that's funny that you mentioned it, or that I brought it up, because that brings me to my next question. Would you consider the Spongetones a local, regional, national, or more of an international act? So have you guys, when you've gone to tour, do you stay regional? Have you gone across the country?
Have
you gone across the
Tokyo and
gone overseas?
International. So
I would be more comfortable in saying international, because we really sold more records in Japan. Like everyone would, you know, immediately sell sort of 5,000 of them, you know.
That's great.
You know, that was the sort of basic thing that they pressed every time. So, you know, 'cause it's really hard to sell records. I mean, it always has been. and now, and pretty much impossible. You know, records are a different item now.
Yeah.
But
I think
anyway,
I've heard. I'm sorry, Jamie. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I was just saying I've heard of, and I know myself. I'm kind of old school. I don't do records, but CDs. I'm still have quite a big CD collection. And because I like to, one, I'd like to support the artist, and two, the quality of the recording is better. Sure. I got into a conversation with a fella at Confluence a couple of the other week, and I said, well, you know, he's like, why don't you like digital like that? And I said, well, because when you listen to it on Spotify, you have to understand it's a compressed file, and you're not getting that quality. So there's a huge difference between the CD and the listening to a streaming service. Right. And he said, really? And then he's like, I got to check that out. And he emailed me back, and he's like, oh my gosh, there was a huge difference. I was like, yeah.
We need to mention, speaking of labels, we need to mention Big Stir Records, who is our current label. And they are such wonderful people. Shout out to Rex and Christina, Big Stir. They have done an amazing promo on our stuff, and I had a solo album out with them, and then they signed the Spongetones. They are musicians. They have a band themselves, so their heart is in it, and I can't say enough good things about the Big Stir Records people. So,
are they local to Charlotte, or are they?
No, they're in L.A. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Yeah, they're wonderful people. They've been totally supportive of all our stuff we've done. Yeah.
So, with all your stuff going on musically, that you have done over the years, what made you guys stay in this region, as opposed to, hey, let's try to go out to L.A. or let's go to New York and let's try to make this, bigger and bigger and bigger?
We played in New York.
Digital has gotten a bunch better. Just recently, Bandcamp and pretty much everybody, Spotify, they'll accept 48K 24-bit files, which are fat and beautiful.
Oh, okay.
And, as a producer, the vinyl stuff was fun and great, and I loved it. And I wish I wish people would buy them is the problem. It's just so hard to sell. People want to know it's there and they want to see it, but they don't really want to pay for it. And, there's things that can happen with phasing, that can make a pressing of a particular recording difficult, that a lot of people don't really understand. As a producer, I remember when CDs came along, it's like, thank God in Greyhound it's gone now,
Well, Pat was getting ready to say something about why
it sounded just like what we recorded.
Pat was ready to say why we're not in other places.
I was just going to say we did travel a lot.
Yeah,
we traveled all up and down the East Coast, played in New York many times, Washington D.C., all over the Southeast.
Sure,
played in L.A. and we went to Japan and played.
Fantastic.
If your question is why didn't we move, we like it here. I mean, Charlotte,
yeah,
it's our home, and it's close enough to where if we wanted to, we could do stuff. But I mean, we can, it's very rewarding to be here, and plus we're all together, except for Jamie, who's 4 hours away.
Well, I guess that point is that there's a lot of musicians, once they start to get things rolling, they're like, we need to go to the bigger city that is more music oriented, per se, than Charlotte, because I don't know, I wasn't here at the time when in the 80s. I didn't get here till the early 2000s, but when I got here, I don't remember there being an abundance of places to play in Charlotte.
Oh yeah, well, it's like I said, it's home, and it feels good here. Yeah. It does have it's not a New York or an LA music scene, but it certainly has one, and we're happy with it. Yeah.
And it's certainly grown a lot. I mean, I imagine even since you guys have, when you guys started, huh?
Yeah.
We kept busy though. There was a great scene here in the 80s. I mean, even in really weeknights, we could play somewhere, the Double Door or Kidnappers or somewhere, and that, all the places were full.
Yeah.
And with good music, a lot of people coming through town as well we're playing here. And I guess now it's bigger and
it's more seen. I want to get to that in a second, but I want to listen to one more Spongetones tune. Is that all right?
Cool.
Yeah. Can we take a listen to Lulu's in Love?
Sure.
Yes. All right, let's do this. Lulu's in Love by the Spongetones.
In the air, do I feel
That's Lulu's in Love. Can you guys tell me a bit about that song, where it was recorded, who's singing, whose song it was?
It's my song, and I saw a sign, Lulu's, and I thought I'm really big on girls' names. We've all written several songs with a girl's name, and I thought Lulu's weird. And so I started, what would Lulu be like? And she started out being really nice, but if you listen to the lyrics, she turns into kind of a really man-eater, kind of not a nice person. And so I sent a demo, and everybody's in on it. That's me singing lead, Pat's playing keyboards and singing, and Jamie, and we're all, I think, you're singing on this, aren't you, Lulu?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, everybody's singing.
Everybody's singing.
I like this because it's sweet it sounds like sweet if you listen to the melody, but if you listen to the lyrics, boy, she's just not a very nice girl, is Lulu. But anyway, I like this one a lot, and I'm glad that it made it on the nice thing too is we've got one with Pat singing, one with Jamie singing, and one with me singing, so we kind of spread it out, and I think Big Stir was happy. They wanted that. They said, let's put 3 songs, and if it's got 3 songs that each of you are on, we'd like that exposure. So
there we go.
A good idea, and I think it works well.
This one and Honest Work, they are both on this 40th anniversary recording?
As well as
oh shoot, it's escaping me too.
Help Me Jane.
Help Me Janie. Yeah, help me Janie.
The track you guys sent over, Or we'll see if we get time, or I'll put that at the end or something like that.
But okay, you were asking about the music scene.
Yeah, so I'm really curious. When you guys were here in the 80s doing Spongetones, was it an original scene at that time, or was it covers, or did you guys do a mix of covers?
Mix, yeah.
A mix. Mm-hmm. What was the average time frame people played for? Because today, I mean, I go out and do a solo acoustic gig, I'm playing for 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours. What's the time frame you guys are playing for?
Usually a total of 3 hours.
Okay. Hasn't changed.
No.
Hasn't been funny.
At the time. Then I think in more recent years, we try to keep it to 2 hours or something like that.
I think I don't know who came up with that 3 hour thing, but I want to kick them.
Well, it was like 4 hours when we started.
Yeah.
It was Gilligan's Island.
And you got,
bar owner came
so
up
we were
with it.
at the Double Door or something, and at the time, smoking everywhere.
Yes.
And we're trying to sing all this stuff in tenor, bunches of songs with harmony, and it was a killer in those days.
I imagine. I mean, and for you guys, at least different people in the band sing, like I do 4 hour gigs or something, and people ask me doing 4 hour gigs. I'm like, no, like I'm not singing for 4 hours straight. Like you don't understand. You don't. I had a vocal hemorrhage a couple of years ago, and they told me that basically singing is one of the worst things you can do for your voice. Like, and I talk all day as a teacher, so I talk for 8 hours, and then I'll go sing at night, and I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm like, my voice is shot.
That's true. And if you have a big repertoire, you can always do something that's a little easy that one guy can sing, or has lots of solos in it or something.
Vamp it out.
But the main point is the clubs were very crowded. The drinking age was 18 at that point, and people were getting in. Much more people came out to see us. We played Springfest to about 10,000 people, outdoor concert back in the 80s. It was wonderful.
Do you guys, were people there for the band? I mean, it's always been people there
they were
for
there they were there
just for the event.
That's great. Because you always feel like today, sometimes you no matter what, you unless you're playing at some place like the Muse or something like that, where people are coming to see you guys.
Right, you're just background.
You are definitely the background music. People are applaud here and there.
People will stop us all the time in the grocery store or something and say, "Hey, man, aren't you in the Spongetones? Oh, me and my wife used to we met each other at Springfest in '85. That's your gig, man."
That one in the '80s, we were like kind of stars around Charlotte. I mean, people would drive around my house and stuff.
That's awesome.
I mean, it was like that. You went anywhere, like to a mall or something like that, you would get recognized.
Yeah, that was fun.
You're at the Spongetones.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. There was a band that came from my neck of the woods on Long Island named Zebra, and they came down here and they played at the Neighborhood Theater a while ago. And much like you guys, they were just local legends at that time back in on Long Island. And I think my brother had a landscaping business. We even cut the guitar player's lawn for
Oh yeah.
You're like, oh, that's his house. It was kind of funny.
Wow.
So I'm looking at this long storied career that you guys have had. and I'm real curious. You're seasoned musicians now. There's a lot of stuff that you guys have learned. What are some of the things and your view on the business and creating music? What's changed? What's remained the same, and what has changed as you have been in the business for so long?
Jamie, you want to start?
Yeah, sure. We got old.
Well, let's just say besides the obvious.
We were cute young, we were cute young guys when the band first started, with the original color hair and all that sort of stuff. And, we were able to stick with it and live, and no one was assassinated or anything like that. So we were lucky on that score. But, if we would have had the internet back when we first started and knew what to do with it, it would have been a different world, I think, for us.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people couldn't see past the covers that we would play to sustain our lives, and then mixed in our originals as well. And it's when you play a note for note rendition of White Room, and then you play an original song, they're going to go for the one that they heard,
Sure.
And that's the way that goes. But it would have been, I don't know, it was hard not to do that stuff, because, that was one reason we started the band anyway, was to hear those things out loud, to be able to play Strawberry Fields Forever out loud.
Yeah.
And it was impressive to watch, so people loved us for that. And then a whole different set of people loved it for our original stuff.
Yeah. I guess one thing, we could make a living doing it by just playing clubs.
Yeah.
For a while we were doing that full time, just playing clubs. And I look at playing clubs now, how much they pay. It hasn't risen very much.
Yeah.
And so just, playing live, I see a lot of these young bands come through, and they make most of their money by selling merch, and so it's changed. Yeah.
That's a big different thing now. Is music is really, it's really almost impossible to sell music. Everybody subscribes to whatever, Spotify, iTunes, whatever they want to subscribe to,
right,
and get everything for free, so they're not thinking in those terms, and everything's digital, especially with young people now. They never buy a CD.
Yeah, no CD player.
No CD players.
Yeah, I don't have a player for this.
Yeah, not in the car. I still got one in my car because my car's a little older, but I mean,
Pat,
I think even if I bought a new car, I'd put a CD player in anyway.
Right.
Because I have CDs.
Yep.
You know? Pat, what are some of the things that your views on things that have changed, things that you enjoyed, or things that you wished hadn't changed?
I like all the modern conveniences, of course, but and being able to record digitally and so on. But my mind's still kind of stuck in the tape world. Especially for demos. I like my little Porta Studio, which I think I had a couple of those that died, but I could get an electronic version of that, and it would have many more tracks. And I'm going to do that, actually, so I can start recording my parts at home.
Yeah,
nice.
Eventually. When we started playing live, we had such a great rapport with the Double Door, where we really started playing live. I was already playing there Sunday nights and from the mid '70s, playing other funk and jazz and whatever duo stuff, and then Nick Karras, the owner, was really agreeable to if you had a new project you wanted to do, you'd get a spot like we did with the Spongetones. I told him what we're doing.
Sure.
You can put in there. It was like Monday night or something, and we still got a crowd. We could fill the place up on Thursday, Monday, whatever, and go about our business and do other gigs on the weekend.
Yeah.
That's changed for us. probably cost a lot
We used to
more
make bags of
to
money
go-
back then, I will say that. We had our own guys running the door, and no one got in for free. And, then we would turn the crowd over because it would be so crowded in there that some people would just leave because they were, about dead. And, and we'd turn the crowd over again. So we would make just bags of money. I mean, it was amazing.
That's fantastic.
And that has changed. Just live music that pays enough for you to make a living.
Right.
I would agree. Yeah.
Eric?
Yeah, it's funny. I was just talking to my brother about all the changes in the industry because he's also a drummer and been in it. Everything from just the fact that there was when you invested in a piece of music to listen to it, you were more apt to really want to take it in. Like, I just bought this record. I paid my money for it. I now invested in listening to this and getting to know it. Now everything, it's all right there at your fingertips. Oh, what do I want to listen to? Oh, let's try this. And you don't have the same lure. Just investing in the music is.
Sure.
But everyone champion, but it's free. You can get everything for free. And that is nice. But there's something to be said for having coughed over a little bit of your hard-earned money to listen to something. Okay, this is,
It's funny because his brother is Tom Wilhelm, who's a great drummer and worked with me at Reliable. Yeah. And one day he brought in a record. He was a great proponent of getting people enthused. And he knew he said he brought in the Jellyfish's first record.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And he said, you're going to love every song on this.
Yeah.
And I took it home, and I love it's one of my favorite records of all time. But the point was, Tom had invested that. And not only had he invested, he knew me, and he knew that, once again, you'll love every song on this record, is what he told me. And so it was perfect. So that's what the connection was. He didn't say, go to Spotify. He actually gave me the CD, and I appreciated that so much. I'll never forget that.
Oh, wow,
I could see him. Here, Steve, you're going to love every song on this record. My gosh, it's a wonderful record, and it happened because he got the CD and passed it down to me. It's a wonderful thing. It is.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that I've heard, and it's not my original line, but is you've become a T-shirt salesman. The music is kind of like this gateway to get people to buy the T-shirts so you can make some money, because a lot of these bands are not making money off their music.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, even some of the bigger artists I've heard complain. They're like, you get 1 million streams and it's like $1,000.
Yeah.
Right.
And what'd you do back in the day? You sold 1 million albums. At least you made a nice chunk of change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And today it's a little difficult. Are you guys doing any social media stuff for yourselves? Are you navigating Instagram or
Big
Facebook?
Stir is handling that for us, and all we do, they're so good at it, quite frankly, that all we do is share. I mean, you can't, one of our new songs from that album can't play somewhere that they don't find it and post it and let us share it. They're wonderful at that. They are masters of social media. Mm-hmm. That's a hard job, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and plus they're aware of changing trends and, stuff that's going on all the time. They are really amazing at it.
Yeah.
Did you guys try to do any of that on your own or no? I mean, even though you have the group that does it as Spongetones.
We have done it in the past.
It's hard.
Everybody goes on Facebook or wherever they go every day and tries to share, whatever's the current thing from Big Stir, to us to keep people aware of it like that. But it's really they're doing most of it.
Right. Yeah, I know. At least for myself, it almost starts to become a full-time job. Each day I'm like, okay, this is where I'm playing for this month. This is what's happening on the podcast.
And that's not the fun part. That's not the fun part.
The
fun part is playing and writing songs. But you have to do it, because if you don't do it or get somebody to do it, then people don't listen. So
here's
something that's changed. Putting up posters. Well, there's a gig. If we had a new record, we'd go to the record store and they'd
print it,
and they'd take a few copies and we'd put a poster up in there, or put up a poster about our gig here and there
with a Sharpie pen saying the date.
There's none of that
at the bottom.
Yeah, I think the internet has kind of replaced that. It's like now, but you've got to hope that somebody's specifically looking for that in a sense, or it comes up on their feed or their in one of their likes on Facebook that they're a Spongetones fans, that the things come up for it. It's really an interesting field to have to navigate today, because I see a lot of these young groups coming up and I'm like, I don't envy you.
Yeah.
Like somebody, like I know one of my cousins, her daughter's in Nashville, and she was on a singing show for a bit, and then she's trying to do some stuff down in Nashville. I'm like, man, it's got to be tough. You go to a place like Nashville, or it's kind of like a New York City.
Yep.
I'm going to try to make it in this place where there's a billion other people, but still, no matter where
Right.
you're at, it's still super difficult, especially today, because, I mean, how many big stars are going to be coming out in the next 10
Right.
years?
Well, young people go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say that's another thing that's different now is that there's so much stuff.
Yeah.
You know, back in the day, there's every week, like, here's the 5 new albums that are coming out this week.
Yeah.
And, on the big labels, and everyone's focusing on that. And now there's hundreds of things coming out almost daily. And, and I was telling them earlier, or telling somebody, my kids, I'll hear them listening to something in their room, and I'll go, oh, that sounds pretty cool. What is that? And it was a song that was on the TikTok. I say, oh, who is it? I don't know. And so they like these songs, but they're not invested in who it is.
Yes.
They just, it's a song I like. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, because we got the CD,
right.
and then or the record, and you could read who played on the album, where it was produced, who the producer was, who was the mixing engineer, all that stuff. And today you go on Spotify, they don't really have that kind of stuff that you look for and see. If you're lucky, you get the lyrics.
Right, yeah.
You know?
Well, to their credit, young people are more adept at it than I am, but also it's so ADD. There's so much, as Eric said, there's so much stuff coming at us every day. I don't know how you break through that,
Yeah, right. You are shouting into the void.
It's exhausting, and the business, the way sales work in the business has changed 5 or 6 times, completely. Like once you think you've got a system down and understand how the distributors work and all that stuff changes, and it's now changed where it's just about impossible to sell records.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm real curious, but here's my thought on it. You guys give me your feedback. My thought on things is the music industry had a golden age of recording and performing and writing. And that age, let's just say, was from 1960 to about early 2000. Yeah. That was the golden age. After that, now we are going back in time a bit to where musicians really had to work to get out and do their stuff. I mean, you look at classical musicians back in the day. They had to have somebody support them, or they had to teach. They put on their own concerts. Jazz players in the early 20s, maybe they performed, maybe they taught. There was no recording, for people to make money. So that was that massive touring recording age. And I think that period is finished.
Yeah.
And we've entered a new era, and musicians are going to have to figure out how they are going to make their living in that. What do you guys think?
Say that the computer is the new folk
always
instrument.
changing.
Yeah.
The new folk instrument.
Yeah.
It's a double-edged sword because we're not under the yoke of labels who would crush bands, get them to sign on, and then write them off and spin off. So we have the freedom to make I can make CD quality music in my music room. I've got the freedom, but getting it out to at least the labels had one thing going for them. If they believed in you and thought they could make money, boy, they made sure that you got out there.
Yeah.
And those days are gone, so you're the label, and Big Stir is a label, but they're not Warner Brothers, nobody, So, yeah, I like the fact that I've got the freedom not to have to go spend money in a huge studio. Sorry, guys that ran big studios. But got the freedom, but getting it out there, is hard to do.
The hard thing I think is going to happen in the future is where are these acts? Who are going to be those big major acts? I'm not sure I see any big major acts coming. Like even in the last 10 years, somebody could say, "Oh, Taylor Swift." Taylor Swift's been around 10 years already. She has established her audience. She will, and she's going into her 40s.
Yep.
She is going to be a legacy act.
Okay.
And people will go and see her. But I don't see younger
She already
groups.
is, actually.
There you go.
You know what? The last record got bad reviews, and it's already going to start going downhill, I fear, for her.
Yeah, but I think what will happen, Jamie, is that she'll do what all these other acts did when their careers took a side turn to a new genre, is that those kids who love her will go on with their lives and they'll get busy, get married, raise kids. And then when Taylor Swift goes on tour in 10 more years, she'll make a huge comeback.
Yeah.
Because she's going on tour and I've got to introduce my kids to the music that I loved. Kind of like a lot of parents do with 80s.
On the other hand, I heard she
music.
sold 4 billion records or something ridiculous. So I don't think she's done yet.
I know I've seen enough, in social media. You know, I've seen the bad reviews posted, but then the comments are all people saying, "Oh, this person doesn't know what they're talking about. We love it."
Yeah.
So all the fans are still saying,
who knows?
Great.
You know.
So, yeah.
It'll be interesting, but I mean, I don't see any young bands coming up that are going to fill those PNC arenas or Spectrums.
Right. No more,
you
Who or Stones or
The place to watch for new stuff now is TikTok, man. It's really. I mean, you're kidding yourself. You know that's where the industry is being run from right now.
Yeah. Well,
and it really is, and it's in short blast. But that's kind of what ADD people, can hang on to.
Yeah, but
hit them every day with something new.
Yeah. But I mean that's the thing. Is like there's not going to be a band like the Spongetones that has 9 albums deep of music. And can go play for 2 hours straight. If everything's a TikTok single in 30 seconds, there's not that TikTok sensation who's going to go, "Hey, come see me at the PNC Arena because I'm going to play 30 seconds of TikTok for you."
30 seconds. Next set, okay.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, and I also think that Rick Beato brought up a great point too, is that this is. People have gone from bands where people knew everybody in the band. Everybody knew, who was in the Spongetones when you guys said, you would walk around, people recognize you. People don't know everybody in the band anymore.
Right. It's the front guy with a supporting band.
It also is a prerequisite that you really have to be young and you have to be pretty.
Yeah. That's
what are you saying,
that's
Jamie?
The truth. Oh, I know we're dead. I know we're dead, but it's just the truth.
Yeah,
Eric's pretty young.
It really
He looks pretty good.
It's always been about what band makes your parents mad. That's the one that we want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I got a question as we start kind of coming to the end of talking about the career and things like that. You guys have this 40th anniversary recording. How did this come about? Why did you guys want to do this instead of putting out just straight up album of new material? What do you want to do? What
Jamie,
is this all about?
You want to try that?
Back to Chris too, right?
Back to
Chris Garges had more to do with us recording that record than anything. He pretty well set up that gig, and he got a sound man that was going to be able to record everything in separate tracks. So he's directly responsible for that. I mean, I did the work or the mixing, and all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. But that's why it happened.
Yeah, the idea was, and he was relentless. He was really pushing us to do this, and I'm glad he did, because it's the last thing he played on, and we've got this record of that concert, which was wonderful. Of a lot of our fans came from different cities to see us play songs, our originals and some covers. The originals are on the album, and in the process, Big Stir Records picked us up and said, "Let's do 3 new songs." So it started out as just a live concert, and it was going to be recorded. And then when Big Stir said, "Let's do it," then it evolved into "and beyond," which is the ... and beyond, indicating that we're not done yet. So it was perfect. But Chris Garges, bless that man, he had a vision, and he would not take no for an answer, and we worked really hard on that.
So he wanted to be the drummer, not Rob for a change, on one whole album, and we all promised him we'd do that.
Yeah.
So take me back. Where did you record this live concert?
It was recorded at Spirit Square in Charlotte.
Okay.
McGlowan Theater.
Yeah.
In 2021.
Okay.
It was scheduled for 2020 in the spring, so
y'all know what happened.
Let me get COVID.
all of it, and then COVID, we were selling tickets. We sold a bunch of tickets.
Sold out.
And then the pandemic happened, so it was canceled for a year and a half till we. It was actually 41 years or something by the time we did the concert.
Chris, unfortunately, we didn't know this. He had been ill, but he passed away not too long after that.
Yeah.
And so we didn't really know this would be one of the last times he played with us, and which is one of the reasons this man's here. Eric was friends with Chris and stepped up to play some stuff with us and help Chris out. And it became very obvious that Eric was going to be the drummer for the Spongetones, and we're more than happy to have him. Like Chris, he's an excellent drummer. He has what we call big ears. Especially being a singer, he hears the whole band. He's not just listening to the bass or the guitars. He's listening to everything. He's very musical, which is what we like.
When was the 40th anniversary recording put out?
It was just released in August. Actually. Yeah, so it took 4 years to, at some point we became connected with Big Stir.
Yeah.
And the focus was on...
Yeah, so it was in 2021, right?
August 21 was when we recorded it.
You recorded it?
Played the gig.
Yeah. And a few years go by.
So we're like on our 45th year for us now, right?
Yeah.
And then you guys, did you talk to Big Stir about it when you got with Big Stir? And then they said, let's release this, and then put new songs on too?
Yeah, Big Stir had released a solo CD of mine. I got connected with them, and so I put out a CD. And I said, after they put it, I said, the Spongetones have this recording. They would be a great fit, and they agreed. They're Spongetones fans too.
Okay.
And so they said, let's put this out on our label, and that's what they did. Many years after it was recorded. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But it did.
And they're also distributing the remainder of our catalog of what we have. Everything is still available on iTunes and Spotify and all that, but the remaining physical records they have now, so that's the place to go for Spongetones.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Pat, were you going to add something?
What was I going to say about that? Well, we did not. Well, one interesting fact is that Chris didn't tell us he was going to record it.
Oh, really?
He handed Jamie a hard drive at the end of the gig, I believe is the story. And he said, "Hey, I recorded the gig. Do whatever you want with it." Oh, I was going to say, Jamie had to put it all together because, you can imagine a live gig with that. It wasn't like the sound man was sitting there tweaking the controls. It was just recorded. He was tweaking the gig for the live sound. So it took a lot of work, in other words, in those years in between with Jamie's spare time.
To mix it,
And we didn't have any money to pay him to do it, so thank you, Jamie.
Hey, you're our hero.
We owe you.
It was a labor of love, and I wanted to be the person that did it, so I'm real happy with it. I'm very proud of it.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Well, lots of luck with it, guys. Lots of luck.
Thank you.
Are you going to do any performances to celebrate, or you got something in the?
It's possible things in the future. We hadn't played in a while, but we're exploring that. Yeah, nothing definite.
Well, please let me know because
we always say never say never.
Never say no. No, well, I won't say no.
I was telling Steve when we took a short break earlier, I tried to get to see you guys play at the Evening Music a few years ago, and I was totally unaware of what I was walking into. I thought I was going to get tickets at the show. And when I waited in line, went up, and they were like, "Oh no, this is sold out, man! You had to buy everything online." So, please let me know in advance so I can get some
tickets. You'll be the first to know.
All right, guys, we're going to start closing things out. Is there anything else you want to touch base with about the Spongetones? Is there anything we might have missed?
First of all, thank you so much for doing this, Matthew. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk. You've asked some great questions. So
thank you, man. Thank you. I'm glad to have you guys
my big advice to any other musicians is just to follow your heart. I would have done this, this whole thing of being in the Spongetones is something I would totally have done for free. You know what I mean? It wasn't ever about the money. It was about making the music.
Yeah.
And follow your heart is the best thing to do. And if you do something really great, it usually will rise to the surface for you.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right, Jamie. That's some great advice. Pat, anything?
I have nothing. They've said it all.
Eric, yourself?
I'll just kind of on line with what Jamie said, but for advice for the people today, I just play for yourself, entertain yourself, and if it's really good, others might latch on and follow. But I think, entertain yourself with it.
That's awesome.
Play what you want to hear.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, if we want to get in touch with the Spongetones, find out everything about the Spongetones, where do we go?
Big Stir Records is a good place. The Spongetones Facebook page, you can go there. So we try to keep up with that. You can send us emails and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, I will put that all in the show notes. And then if you guys want in the show notes, send me some links to your solo stuff. I'll put links in the show notes too for that kind of stuff if you want to check it out.
Yeah.
Jamie, did you get that?
I didn't get the very last thing you said. No.
Oh, okay. If you want to put out if you have some solo stuff like a solo website, send that link to me, and I'll put it in the notes for the podcast.
Okay.
Okay. Cool.
All right. Hey, guys, if you don't mind, since we're closing out, I'm gonna close things out with the last song from the new album, "Help Me, Janie." Is that all right?
Yes.
All right. "Help Me, Janie" off the new album by the Spongetones.
Awesome.
Take care, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, my friend.
Thanks for listening to episode 93 of the Queen City Music Podcast, and I hope you'll go back and check out past episodes. And if you've enjoyed this podcast, please share it with your friends. As always, if you have an idea for an episode or would like to be a guest on the QCMP, reach out to me at qcmusicpodcast@gmail.com. Also, check out our local partners, Records on the Wall at rexonthewall.com, Charlotte New Music at charlottenewmusic.org, Black Other Berry Lemonade at btblemonade.com, and The Evening Muse at eveningmuse.com. And if you would like to become a local partner, touch base with me at qcmusicpodcast@gmail.com. Until next month, get out there and support the local Charlotte music scene by hearing some of the talented artists who call our city home.